Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. Each week, host Bryan O'Rourke brings you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse for what matters most for your business in the age of exponential technologies.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Bryan O'Rourke. Thanks for joining us today. Today, we're going to share the recording of our event at FIBO 2026 in the Future Forum, where we had a panel titled A Respectful Disagreement on AI and its Hype Cycle. I want to thank so much Hans Muench for being the moderator. And the key participants were myself, Pablo, Viñaspre, and Marcin, Obel with Qodeca and FitnessKPI for Pablo. We talked about a number of things: automation versus outcomes, separating hype from reality, data and connectivity, and the human element. We talk about practical applications with what I believe is a healthy bit of optimistic skepticism. FIBO, again, was a great event. I want to thank everyone for their support, and especially William O'Rourke, my son, and Vincenzo, who did a lot of work with the FIBO team, along with, the folks at FIBO itself, who were, so gracious, and at Europe Active. We really appreciate them sponsoring and helping FITSE work together to share this kind of information. And so, without further ado, let's join the panel.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. We're going to be starting punctually with our session entitled A Respectful Disagreement on AI and its Hype Cycle. My name is Hans Muench. I'm a Canadian living in Switzerland, 40 years of experience in the industry, and I'm also on the board of the Fitness Industry Technology Council, whose president is Bryan O'Rourke, the first person I'd like to introduce, who's also the CEO of Videri Ventures, the president of FITSE, also owns some clubs in Thailand, had some Gold's gyms in Texas, and has been a keynote speaker. If you haven't connected with Bryan O'Rourke or subscribed to his YouTube channel, I recommend that. And we have Pablo Viñaspre from Spain, the founder and CEO of FitnessKPI, the dashboard specialist, if I may say, and very busy right now in the United States, but also globally, working with a number of leading companies and operators. And finally, not last but not least, Marcel Obel, who is the founder and chief innovation officer for Qodeca, which is a tech advisory company based in Warsaw, Poland, for fitness operators globally. So you have some US clients such as iOS and Bay Club, the Portuguese group SC Fitness, Body Masters in Saudi, so working globally. Thank you for being here. We'll be asking 6 questions and having a couple of the panelists respond, and we hopefully will be finished in time to have the program of the Innovation Awards and the pitches. So let's start with the first question. Are we in an AI bubble, or is this time generally different? Every major technology wave, the internet, mobile, cloud, went through a hype cycle that overpromised in the short term. Where does AI sit on that curve today? And are the warning signs of a bubble real? I'm going to ask Bryan to start and then Marcin to add.
Yes, we're certainly in a bubble. We are certainly in a hype cycle. The hype cycle is a tech trigger. That was ChatGPT generally. A period of peak in, high levels of expectation, followed by a trough of disillusionment, then moving through a slope of enlightenment to a plateau of productivity. We're in a hype cycle. It happens every time. Does anyone remember the metaverse? No? So you see this all the time. And by the way, I'm not anti-technology. I'm far from it. I've invested in technology for my entire career, and I'm a big believer in innovation. But technologies always create unintended consequences. And in this situation, it's more profound than ever. And we'll talk a little later about governance and the risk and returns regarding that. The other thing I would note to everyone, especially in the age of private equity, pay very close attention to the information you're getting from regarding AI and other technologies, and ask yourself this question: what is their incentive? Do you really think that Facebook's incentive was to build a global community? No. Their incentive was to steal your data, to use it to make them rich. So it's just very important that when you hear information, you put it in context, and that we're aware these are tools, and that those tools are used for purposes, and you can't let, as they say, the tail wag the dog.
Thank you, Bryan. Marcin, your take?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, like the session is about, respectful disagreement. But to be honest, I can't disagree with Bryan at this one. And definitely we are in the bubble. Doesn't matter, like everything what's happening is like not valuable. It is valuable, and really helps to do a lot of stuff, do it faster, do it better. But still, when you look at the whole AI industry right now, we have some IPOs coming to the world in the coming months. There is a lot of hype. Of course, everyone is doing a lot of buzz around what they do, how they do all of those things, and we see a lot of, I would say, unclear and weird moves on the market here. But still, yeah, it's like, we should always think about things like those bubbles through the lenses of the history. Like, previous bubbles, there was a lot of, let's say, terrible things happening. On the other side, come on, the internet itself is with us. A lot of other stuff is with us. We are using all of that on the daily basis, and in this particular, case, it will be the same.
And just an open debate. Maybe ask you, Pablo, to chime in. Where have you seen AI delivering genuine, measurable value for operators, not just in demos?
Okay, well, first, talking a little bit about the bubble, where I see a bubble dynamic, especially is in the expectations of the consumers. I think AI has proven some value in many industries, especially in repetitive tasks and managing a lot of data with the analysis. But I see the bubble on the expectations of the people and the companies. They think the AI is like autonomous magic, and it's not magic. AI needs high quality and good quality data, needs good context, and it needs supervision. It's not something that can run by itself. And if we think so, we have the risk to over-automatize everything and lose the emotional touch that is so important in our industry.
Thank you. Marcin, is the issue the technology itself or the expectations being set by vendors and media?
Actually, I would say it's a pretty easy question to ask. Mainly, considering what I see, working with the clients, there are a few things. First of all, over expectations, and it's in many cases like people who are not technical are bombarded with all of those information from the internet or other media. They are hearing, this or that company is firing a lot of people because they have, beautiful AI and which is doing everything and so on and so on. Suddenly, turns out that the ROI is not there. And some of them are, I'm not going to, let's say, mention the names right now, but probably some of you at least know that the same companies are hiring those people again after some time. But and on the top of the whole wave, like those expectations grown extremely high, and the biggest problem I would say right now is people who are, let's say, not sitting very deep in the whole AI world don't fully understand what's behind the scene. That it's not like a magic wand. It's something like a, I would say, kind of Iron Man's suit. But really, you need the like reasonable and smart human inside, at least right now. On the other side, you don't want the suit to like be fully autonomous, at least now. So all of that is like I would say the education is one thing. Second thing is people are thinking that, and I saw it already many times in the fitness industry when working with fitness operators. They think they will buy a tool. It can be of software wherever. They will throw it on the organization, and magically everything will start working. It doesn't work like that. There's something called very old, and basic thing like change management, what actually drives adoption of things in the organization and so on and so on. So there's a lot of stuff, but definitely the problem is not on the technology itself. It's like with the hammer. Let's say if you know how to use the hammer and you understand, I would say, the physics behind it, yeah, you can do a lot of great things. On the other hand side, if you don't know, what you should know, you can actually, damage your fingers or something else.
Okay, good analogy. We'll go on to the second question, which will be dealing with LLM, or language learning models, and AGI, artificial general intelligence. AGI has become the implicit promise behind trillion-dollar valuations. The path from today's large language models to AGI, credible or not? And if it isn't, does that change how we should think about AI investment? Pablo, would you like to?
Yeah, well, if you analyze today, the experts, there is not a consensus about that LLM is going to be is taking us to AGI. And we don't know how long that's going to take anyway. So for me, that's an speculation, and we shouldn't focus on that. I think we should focus on using the technology that we have today and how to use that to impact in the organizations. And the technology that we have today is SaaS plus AI plus workflows. And the combination of that can have a brutal impact in the organizations. So I think we should be focusing on that instead of trying to speculate about the future, because even the experts they don't agree about that.
Okay, thank you, Marcin.
Yeah. So I believe funny part about AGI itself is that when it comes to investing and putting all of that money in the AGI, if we think about AGI like something what really can think and do things for its own, like a human being, the question is, if there will be return of investment, if the AGI will take over the world. But still, definitely, and I agree with what Pablo said, that there is no agreement, if we are on the right path. There is already a lot of publications about, like LLMs hitting the roof on how more capable those can be done. Of course, we must remember that when it comes to LLMs, we still figure it out probably 5% of what we can do with those things. But when it comes to AGI, there's even no real agreement on what does it mean. Depending on, I would say, university or professor at the university, the term can be described differently and will mean really something different. So, yeah, when it comes really to the investment and putting money, it's in theory great for those big players, but in theory, really, what in case AGI will take over the world?
It's important to be speaking the same language as well, right? The
Correct.
operators. So for open debate, does the AGI debate, Bryan, matter practically for fitness technology decisions? Or is it a distraction from near-term use cases?
Yeah, I think in this case, we're the tail of the dog, not the nose. And what I mean by that is that these are more profound issues, particularly when you consider the efficiency or inefficiency of compute itself. Because of the sums of money that are being invested to make LLMs more and more widely available and the amount of energy required, I think like any technology, those things will continue to evolve to make them more and more efficient. To the extent the current construct does not evolve, and you've seen this throughout history, we will hit constraints that will limit the capacity of the tool for any industry or use case. So I think time will tell the story, but I would imagine that it will be required for us to continue to evolve the construct around what is fueling the tool. So LLMs probably won't be the ultimate platform, but who knows? Like these guys are saying, who really knows? And does it really matter right now? I'm not really sure it does.
Of course, we all know the product life cycle and the 4 phases. And if LLMs plateau, what does that mean for companies that have built their product and their roadmap around continuous AI capability growth? Who would like to answer that?
Well, I think with the information that we have today, building a process of the company based on AI is not a risk because we know the future is going in that direction. Yeah. So that's not going to be a future risk on that.
And in our space here, we have a lot of tech stacks that are relying on very legacy technologies to do basic things still. So, I mean, you know, that's use case. You know, it's just a function of...
Yeah, I agree with Marcin that that's a real problem today, that people think that if you have a process in the company, you think that you can put AI on the top of the process and that's it. And that's not how it works. Yeah. You have to totally change or at least partially change the process with the AI. It's not that you put AI to do things faster or cheaper. It's to do things in a different way. And you have to build that.
And we are talking about the industry where, in case of many operators, you know, 50 or sometimes 60% of their processes are still Excel spreadsheets and emails.
Yeah. That's right.
Good. And let's go on to the third question. The real barrier is people, not the technology. You agree or disagree, Pablo?
I totally agree. I would say the real barrier is people and organizations that many times are not ready to implement the technology. So if we talk about AI, the first thing you have to worry about is having a clean and reliable and good data and have the organization prepared with the correct people and with the correct knowledge to digitalize processes and to implement the technology. The technology is, as he said, Marcin said before, technology is ahead of what we can do. And also the technology is evolving at a speed that the organizations or the people cannot assume. Yeah. So the barrier is always the people and the organizations, both.
And you've experienced that. You have a 25-year experience, both operating clubs and working on the software. So it's, it's not going to fix the culture that hasn't mastered the basics, but you have to have a culture of change, a willingness to change as well.
And also, talking about that, also, many times the focus of the organization, talking about technology, many times is not the correct focus. Like if we talk about data, they want to have the data perfect and before they start doing things. And that's a mistake. Start moving, start doing things, start learning. And at the same time, you are going to improve the integration, you are going to improve the quality of the data and optimize everything. But they go from the analysis to the paralysis many times. And we see that a lot of times in the organizations.
Especially now when the technology is moving so fast. So, in many cases, like learning by doing is much better approach than taking this old corporate type of let's say approach. We do phase 1, then when we're done with phase 1, we do phase 2, and so on and so on. Suddenly, after 2 years of doing those phases, we are ending up in the situation that great, we finish all of the phases, but the work is somewhere else already. So from that perspective, yeah. But actually, considering like the whole fitness industry, and especially the part related to operators, fitness clubs, there is a lot of like this, foundation to be done, and in order to really be able to utilize newer technologies, and I'm not even talking about AI, like because there is a lot of a lot of concepts from different markets. No one is, or almost no one is utilizing. Just to give you an example, thing which is called A/B testing. That's
A/B.
A/B, yeah, A/B testing. Very simple thing, used in so many different industries. Like, do you know anyone who's doing that to optimize, for instance, membership sales on their website? I don't think so. So, like basics, so data, and Pablo can probably talk a lot about the data and working with it. Second thing, if you want to understand the AI part, as the fitness operator or literally someone who's working in the fitness industry, start playing with those basic tools, but not only playing in a way like with the hammer, let's say, on your own. No, read documentation, browse the internet, watch some tutorials on YouTube, wherever. Experiment with it, so you'll understand it better. Then you will know that models are lying to you, and they are better and better in lying. How to validate if they are lying, how to force them to be as truthful as possible, how to use it in day-to-day simple things, like you're asked by your supervisor to send some, I don't know, report, how you can automate it. There is a lot of tools on the market right now you can use, but all of that will allow you to understand better what you are dealing with when it comes to deciding if you want to go and then start looking for more advanced AI solutions, because then at least you will be able to ask those even simple questions. Hey guys, it looks like your tool or solution is great, but how you avoid hallucinations? How you do this? How you do that? And so basics are key, because at the end you will be responsible at your organization for what actually AI will do.
Yeah, it's people, and anybody that wants to look at a Salesforce.com adoption in an organization would tell you the tool is, in many kinds, hardly used well at all. It's all people. So.
It's partly to do with the change management culture in the organization and staff training as well. Right?
Many things. Yeah, many things.
Okay. And just for anybody, is the industry producing enough AI literacy in terms of the staff training at the operator level? Or are vendors filling that gap with sales narratives? Anybody?
It's sales narratives for the most part, but let's move on.
I will disagree. Sales, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's turn to a positive note. What does AI actually do well in fitness? And what should it stay away from? Marcin? Beyond the marketing language, let's get specific. You're working with club operators around the world.
Yeah.
Where is AI generally improving fitness operations or member experience today? And where is it being oversold or misapplied?
So let's start with the things AI is doing great, I would say. So everything what's related to simple automations, meaning, let's say you have an email where your members can, let's say, send their complaints, requests, wherever. And everything what's related to understanding those emails, to let's say, deciding what should be the next steps, and so on and so on. So those simple things like, let's say, picking up the phone. In some cases, of course, we are talking about like human-driven industry. So I'm opposite to any concept of like just throwing people from the hotline and just force members to deal with AI or any solutions like that. But those are the places where let's say AI is good in analyzing data. For instance, while working with the clients, we are using our internal tool where we do the analysis for all of their reviews online as part of like discovery phase and collect everything what's needed to, let's say, help them move forward with the technology. And using simple techniques and AI models, you can not only analyze if it's positive, negative. You have for that already stars. But in many cases, it's more about like okay, what type of issues the person is talking about, just to categorize it, put some structure around it, and so on and so forth. Helping on the day-to-day work, starting from the CEO of the organization up to personal trainer to club manager, wherever. Those are the things where AI is great. When it comes to this, I would say, hype, I still can't see the value is like fully replacing personal trainers with AI. And I'm talking about simple things like building the training plan. For me, to be honest, it's like the overhyped thing. I personally, witnessed many cases working with our clients where personal trainers were just telling, yes, we tested tool X, Y, and Z, but at the end, it was giving us like 50-60% of what we need. But then, actually, we had to still spend a lot of time to do it the way we would like it to be. Because remember that when it comes to things like personal training, trainers do things differently, work with their clients differently. On the other side, there is like a lot of additional input needed, and that's where I haven't seen like this real ROI in that part, for instance.
Pablo?
Yeah, I would say if we talk about sales, I think AI is good in lead management, and also in giving an immediate response to all the leads and all the questions that they have, and trying to push the leads in the sales funnel. That's one area. If we talk about retention, AI is good in the predicting models, so predicting the risk of cancellation. Yeah. If we talk about how to personalize at a scale, AI is good helping to automatize the customer journey and trying to personalize and create a different journey for each customer. And of course, analyzing data, but not also just analyzing the data, but telling you insights and what's going on about the data with a kind of complex explanation. So you can ask, okay, what's going on with retention in my club? And the AI can explain what is your specific problem in retention, with what type of members, what age, at what moment of the life of the member. So it can give you a complex explanation.
Yeah, and we've all seen in our clubs members that bring their own phone and have their own programs on them. In some ways, they are replacing a trainer. But where is the line between AI augmenting the human relationship and replacing it? And who decides? Bryan?
Well, I think you can look in the retail space at what Apple did with respect to how they reinvented retail. Yeah. And I think that, I think the greatest demonstrations of those kind of deft balance of the human side with the technology tool hasn't really been delivered yet. I think it's coming. That's the promise. And it's not just the tech. It's a lot of things these gentlemen have brought up. And it takes leadership and real innovation, which is actually doing the thing and having people go, wow. You know what I mean? And we're going to see that. We're going to see some people to figure out how to actually do that. But it's not as easy as just plugging in a new system. It's a lot of things.
Yeah, I think that's going to be in the next future.
Yep.
It's going to be one of the most important decisions of a manager to decide in which moments of the customer journey they want to rely on technology, and in which moments they want to rely on people.
That's right.
And if there is a high complexity and high emotional component, you need people to do that. And
That's right.
that usually has to do with human relationships and also with leadership.
Yeah, that's right. And this question is, how do you want to compete?
Yeah.
You know, certain businesses are going to take some businesses will say, I don't want any upfront technology aspect at all. Others are going to be highly automated, and it's a blend that you have to choose in what you're trying to execute on from a business model.
In what niche you are, what niche you are targeting.
That's right.
In this case.
That's right.
And we talk about mass personalization. Personalization at scale. Is it actually delivering better outcomes or just more engagement?
Again, another example of it's a balance. You know, some people right now are using AI tools from a customer service standpoint and having disasters on their hand. I mean, you know, it's that blend of what are you trying to accomplish, how do you want to balance it, and as these gentlemen mentioned, you can't figure out, you got to kind of do and figure as you go too. That's what happens.
The real challenge with AI is not about technology.
Yeah.
To create an agent is a really easy process, and it's going to be easier and easier. So the challenge is not technology. The challenge, there are two main challenges. One challenge is to give the agent good data so he can do something with it. And the other challenge is to make sure that the agent is learning and making the correct actions with your customers.
Yeah.
That's critical. It's like if you have an employee that is doing the wrong things. So you can have an agent to improve retention that is not improving retention. And that's one of the main challenges now for all the people who are working with AI. How can I make sure that the actions that this agent is doing are really having an impact in the company?
And the scary part is, you know, comparing an agent to an employee is that in many cases, AI agent is much faster in doing things, so it can, screw up so many additional things like, an employee wouldn't be able to screw up with, only because it's much faster.
Yeah, and especially if you have that agent doing the same in 1,000 clubs, because he's learning from all of them.
Correct.
So the speed is going to be huge.
There's the expression garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah.
Square.
So, we'll move to question 5, governance and risk, a favorite topic, Bryan, for yourself, so I'll let you begin. As AI becomes embedded in member health recommendations, sales flows, and staffing decisions, questions of accountability are no longer theoretical. Last week, Basic Fit had a 1 million person or member data leak. And a few weeks before that, the telecom had a 7 million data leak. Who owns the risk? The vendor, the operator, or the industry, Bryan?
Yeah, that's a big question. I mean, contracts will dictate some of that. Some of that is part of the consequences of technology that are always unintended. The cybersecurity risk obviously is going to get even greater. Yeah. So if you're using and relying on vendor relationships, you better make sure they have a robust approach to security, is one example. But this is going to be an area that's going to be fraught with challenges. Anytime you do these kind of things, you're going to have those challenges. And some of them are just going to be accentuated by the power of some of these tools. I think in a general sense, it's also public policy. From a governance perspective, you think of the Montreal Protocol, which was the last time, arguably, that the governments around the world came together on fluorocarbons because our ozone was disappearing. And thankfully, it worked. Okay? Yeah. Unfortunately, what happens is we generally don't deal with these kind of problems until they blow up in our face. When you have Eric Schmidt on stage, as I think I may have mentioned before, openly saying there are going to be Chernobyl moments with this technology, I think I think that's probably a real thing. Now, how does that affect people operating health clubs? I mean, you don't really know. All you know is you better make sure that whoever you're working with has the best approach from a tech stack and a philosophical and tech approach to mitigate as much risk as possible, and that it's very high on that list of things to be aware of.
Yeah.
Pablo?
There are three layers of responsibility. One is the company who is building the AI model. Yeah. The second layer is the company that is selling or commercializing that product, that platform. And the third layer is the company that is using the AI. The main responsibility is going to be in the company using the AI, because that's the company who decides how to use it, with what level of supervision, and in which context it's going to use it. So at the end, the main responsibility is going to be, in this case, in the operator.
Yeah. If you will buy a hammer and harm your member, like the manufacturer or the store which sold you the hammer wasn't be responsible for that. And
you like hammers?
Yeah.
He's got a hammer right here behind his chair. Watch out.
Thor hammer. I just wanted to add one thing to what Bryan said about contracts. So what I see on the daily basis in the fitness industry, unfortunately, people are signing contracts with technology companies without actually, I would say, sometimes even thinking at all.
Yeah.
It's and it's one of the biggest risks, because in theory we have three layers. But if you don't think about your security from the legal perspective when working with technology company, at the end you will take the whole impact of what happens on you. On the other side, remember that in front of the members, you are the one who's responsible for everything what happened. It doesn't matter if you will tell your member, that it's not my fault, it's fault of my provider or someone behind my provider. They don't give a shit, to be honest.
That's right.
Like from that perspective, it will be you, and it doesn't matter if someone will steal your child's special needs or allergies related information, or it will be something much more harmful. Like it will be your fault. Not Amazon, not Microsoft, not Anthropic, or name it.
Yeah, last year I told everybody on the stage, I said, please read your user license agreements, because so many people really don't read them and understand them.
That's correct.
And what should minimum government standards look like for the industry in AI?
Well, we don't have standards over a lot of things, so I'm not holding my breath. I think we're more of the tail on the dog than the nose here. So we'll see what comes. As things emerge, I think people will have to figure out what the best solution set is there.
Yeah.
And is it self-regulation in the end?
Well, that's going to depend. I think,
scary part.
Yeah, that's going to depend, because there's good and bad to that, and I think we're, again, the tail on dog, not the nose. I mean, there's so many broader implications that are going to be figured out by other people.
Self-regulation sounds like, dealing with Darwin's law a bit, and on one hand side it's quite efficient long-term. On the other hand side, it can, let's say, bring a lot of harm in the meantime. I don't know, Hans, if you remember our discussion in Riyadh, long time ago, where I was actually saying that, the fitness industry is talking about AI right now, and it's at the stage where actually it just discovered the fire and it's trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are not, it was probably 3 years ago, we are not even closer to AI. Let's say if we take fire on one hand side of the scale and flying to the moon on the other side, we are still trying to figure out, let's say, all of the good things we can do with the fire here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Let's move to the sixth and last question, which I think operators in the room are very interested in hearing. What should the operators do right now? Can you offer a practical prescription, Pablo?
Well, I talked a little bit before about that, but the first thing is to make sure you have good data, and you have a good data lake, or you have the data organized in one place, clean, well-structured, actualized every day, and ready to be used. That's the first thing. The second thing is to have the team and the organization ready, and understand, also have a clear vision, goals, and everything. So you decide where do you need the technology, because many times it's the opposite. Many times the companies come to us and say, okay, what can you do with technology? Now, what do you need? Okay, tell me what you need and we'll see how can we help. Okay, so those are the first two things. And then decide which are the main issues or the main areas that you need to move forward in the company, probably related to sales, to retention, to hyper-personalization, to data analysis, to automatizing operational processes that you can automatize very easily and reduce the time and the cost. So decide the areas and start small, start looking for the return of investment of each action, and then move to a more global action.
Marcin, can you take from some of your clients one high-confidence use case that works?
So to be honest, the use case which works the best is actually something what I mentioned earlier. So actually start using those simplest AI tools, meaning the smallest possible hammer, and start playing with it, learning it, and it will help you solve a lot of day-to-day issues, or it will save you a lot of time, allow you to focus on many other stuff you are not able to focus on right now. For instance, as club manager, spending 3 hours a day filling in a spreadsheet for for general manager or area manager. Those are the things and simplest things I would recommend starting with. Don't buy new cool tools just in sake of buying those.
Yes.
If you want to, let's say, play with something, start with a pilot. Really think about what's the outcome. Do you really need it? Then make let's say further decisions. But remember that at the end, it's a change management, and there is no tool which just thrown on your organization will change everything. Actually, in many cases, it can make things even worse. So, small steps, smaller hammer, than play with a bigger hammer, but ensure you have someone who can, let's say, keep you safe when you are doing it. If you are already, let's say, familiar and know how to use a bigger hammer, then you can proceed and iterate.
If you have, it's important to know that if you put technology in a process, you have to change the process. Yeah. And if you have a bad process and you put AI and technology, that's going to be a worse process a lot faster. Yeah. So you have to understand that. And that's the reason why when you implement technology, there is a J-curve effect, that at the beginning, you are going backwards and you are being less efficient, and it looks like you are, that technology doesn't work, but you have to wait until your organization is ready, the technology adapts to your company, and then you start seeing the improvement on that. Many companies, they quit just before they start getting the wins from the technology, because they don't understand that the process is like this. Yeah. And the way to accelerate that process is start moving before things are perfect, and start learning and putting your hands on the technology and learning, because everything is so fast that you cannot just stay quiet and wait until everything is perfect. Start doing things and you're going to be learning, and that curve is going to be faster.
So be willing to make mistakes, learn, maybe one step back, to get 2 steps forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe we have startup guys here. So like that's the mantra, they should use, but actually right now everyone should use it,
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of failing and try new things, but on your hand side, ensure you are, I would say, safe as much as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And the thing is that sadly, it's not sad, but it's reality. The most, having run global businesses for many years and dealt with technology, it's an enabler. It is not the strategy. Most businesses don't have a strategy. They have a plan.
Yeah.
And if you don't think of it in that context, you're never going to be able to benefit from the enablement of technology. You can't let the shiny object be the thing that's driving your strategy, because that means failure. And that's been my experience.
So now we've reached the point of closing comment. I'm going to ask each of the panelists to give me one, maximum 2 sentences, your take. Is AI in fitness right now overhyped, underhyped, or exactly where it should be? Pablo?
I think it is where it should be, because it's a process. There is some chaos in all of this. Things are happening really fast in the technology world. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And we are trying to, I think we have to not to look so much at the future, but look at what we have today and try to use that to create impact, because there are many things we can do with the actual technology and create a huge impact in the organizations. Let's focus on that.
Great. Marcin? Oh, no, I'm going to give you the last word unless you want to.
Optimistic skepticism is the key, and be an optimistic skeptic. And we're in a hype cycle now, but that's what happens.
Marcin?
So I think it's a bit overhyped, but it's, I would say, kind of good thing, because, you need to start somewhere, and, okay, there is new shiny tool, let's try to play with it. If many people are playing with it, there is a chance, actually, someone will come up with this great use case, new use case, no one else was thinking about.
Here at the FIBO, we have lots of shiny objects.
Correct.
And in 45 minutes, we can't cover everything. I would like to maybe make a final plug for people who want to go into a deep dive. In London, the 19th to the 20th of May, is the Fitness Tech Summit from Al Noshivari. I recommend that you take a look at that if you want to do a deeper dive. Thank you to the panelists, and thank you for being here.
This podcast is sponsored by the Fitness Industry Technology Council, which has over 40 members around the world working together to help the thoughtful adoption of technology, as well as our companies, Videri Ventures and its various groups, Moon Mission Media, and Accounting and Administrative Solutions, amongst others. If there's anything I can do to be of service, please reach out to me, Bryan K. O'Rourke, at Bryan K. O'Rourke, that's with a Y, gmail.com. Thank you.